This program is sponsored by Dr. Pat Basili and Transformation Talk Radio.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hey, it's just you and me. Let's talk about your fears, those you acknowledge and those you keep to yourself. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show. I'm Patricia, and I'm here with my husband, Jason. Today, we're sitting in for Dr. Pat. We use an ecosystem approach to you, which is much different than what you are commonly taught. We see human beings as ecosystems that need to be uncovered instead of programmed. Human potential becomes infinite with our ecosystem approach. So, Jason, what do we say to people who are listening right now about their fears?
Well, first of all, we're going to help you today, but we're not going to do what's normally done, which is say, oh, don't be afraid. We're not going to say that. Nothing stupid like that. We're not going to say, oh, it doesn't make sense. Your fears don't make sense, so you don't have to be afraid. Those never work. And so we're going to really do something that's going to be very, very effective, which is to understand that fears at their root are energies.
Right.
So if we change the energy, we can change the fears.
And by the way, we're going to actually show you how to do that today. So stay tuned, everyone.
So here's the biggest thing that we've learned as intuitives about fears. They're energies. They don't respond to logic. Try and talk a little kid, so you go into the little kid's bedroom and, oh my gosh, there's a monster under the bed. Well, you look underneath the bed, say there's no monster there, or monsters don't exist. You're just in your imagination. If the kid's really sharp and evolved, they'll say, I'm not buying it. I'm not going there,
And even if they're not, that doesn't put to rest their fears.
Yes.
But one of the best things ever is to actually do what we do. We use the ecosystem approach and we clear them.
Yes. So if you can use an energy approach, I mean, if you have a situation where you have a child like that, the best thing to do is let's say, okay, let's clear our fears. We're going to put them in the processor,
right?
And we're going to get rid of them right now, and then see how they feel about what's underneath the bed.
You know what, Jason, I'm going to jump in. We actually didn't talk about this part of this today beforehand, but the other night, Jason's mom, she's 90, she has dementia, and she lives with us. One of the common things that happens in dementia is that they do like night terrors is basically what they're called. And Jason,
good example.
Jason went and
she was. I woke up. She was moaning. She was screaming.
Yes, and we didn't. I didn't hear it. I would have helped, but he tried waking her up, and that didn't work. And then what happened was he started clearing her fear. He started clearing the negative energy that was all around her. He said she woke up and said,
what's going on? I said, you're having a nightmare. It's sort of like a little kid.
Yeah.
You're having a nightmare. And I kept clearing, and she said, okay. And she went right back to sleep.
Exactly.
And it changed the energy in the room. You could
feel it.
Walked in, I could feel the fear, and we cleared it, and it made a huge difference.
Right. So you have another story about fear.
So, I always warn people when I tell my Army stories. And Patricia always rolls her eyes,
Okay.
So, she's heard this,
a bazillion times.
4 bazillion anyways.
Yeah.
But so I was in the Army, and I was a paratrooper. So that's where you jump out of airplanes.
He was crazy and jumped out of airplanes. Okay,
jump
go
out
ahead.
in a parachute.
Yeah.
And I remember going to jump school, which is where they trained you to do this. And in the first jump, which is always the most traumatic, I was second in line to go out the door. The guy who was supposed to be first was right in front of me, and the first guy's supposed to put your hands outside the skin of the airplane. So the door's open. It sounds like a freight train. It sounds really, really noisy. Put your fingers outside the front, and then when the
instructor,
the jump master, it's called the jump master.
Okay.
He says go, or he taps you or whatever, and you jump out. Usually you're so wound tight, he just has to touch you, and you go boom. And just
Yeah.
Anyways, but the guy in front of me froze. He just froze.
Yeah.
And of course that's fear. So they didn't try and talk him out of it.
What did they?
They didn't use logic.
What did they do, Jason?
The jump master bit. He was holding on. He bit him. The guy went, oh, and he pushed him out.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if he continued with jump school, but I know that for the next jump, I was first.
Right.
And
Yes.
I actually I didn't really mind. I was nervous, but I didn't mind putting my hands outside the plane.
In a way, you knew you were prepared to for what was going to happen, even if you didn't know exactly what was going to happen.
I was never afraid of heights, and
Very good.
It was kind of fun. I had anxiety. I had butterflies, but I was excited to do it. And over the course of my career, I did 40 jumps, so it was I got used to it. But there's more to this story, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. But here's the thing.
Okay.
You can't overcome your fears by using Bravo, like acting like you don't have them. You can't overcome them by trying to talk yourself with logic.
Okay.
If you're losing logic, only one person's died, in this course, stuff like that. And the jump masters loved that kind of negative gallows humor. They love to do that. There's only a few people have died. Don't worry about it. That sort of thing. But those things don't work, and force also doesn't work. Because sometimes it can be traumatizing.
Well, wait a minute. What does work? Clearing the fear,
or using our energy process to remove those fears and neutralize those fears.
Exactly.
I know that I've seen people who in childhood they'd have no fears of heights, and then as they grow up they have fears of heights.
Yeah.
Fears, they move around. So you may be afraid
and
of
so
this.
That's kind of a proof that it is energy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here's the other thing. Numbness is a big deal. It can give you the false belief that you've overcome your fears, but it's not true. Fears and negative emotions can move around and change, and the energy can change, but it doesn't go away.
Right.
So here's my next story. Okay. So I was a paratrooper. I was jumping out of airplanes in my normal course of what I did, and typically what we did is we have what they call a static line, which is you have this cord that's connected to the plane. So when you jump out, it automatically deploys your chute.
Okay.
And so I did some.
Deploys means opens.
Opens.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So you don't have to worry about opening. You just jump out, and all of a sudden the chute's open. That sort of thing. And they teach you for that kind of jumping, you go inward. You kind of scrunch up and get small. So I did this sport parachute jumping, and it was not for my job. It was just kind of after hours.
Okay.
And you go up in a helicopter, and you jump out of a helicopter. Doors are open, just like in Army helicopters, and then you jump out and you pull the cord. The cord.
Yeah.
Well, my first jump, I thought, well, I did the other stuff. I can do this. I was nervous. I was anxious.
Sure.
Well, I jumped out, and I looked up at my chute, and one of the worst things that could happened, which is it was tangled up. It was twisted, so the chute wasn't fully open, and I was going down to the ground
a lot faster than
I should. Yeah. And I know that because it was partially open, I had to make this choice to use my reserve chute, because what happens is if you use your reserve chute, it can
tangle up in the other one.
Exactly. So I made the decision. I deployed that, and it didn't really open. So I had two chutes that weren't even really open. I was going toward the ground really fast, and I remember hitting, and I was stunned for a moment. I was like,
bet.
and it was like, is something broken? Is something wrong?
Right,
Is
right,
something,
right,
it's
right.
like, you feel yourself. Did you
Right.
break anything?
Right.
And I was fine.
Okay.
But they asked me if I wanted to do another jump, and I said no.
Because your fears, because of your fears, you said no?
Well, see, that's the thing. I
Okay.
didn't feel fear at that moment.
Oh, you felt numb.
I felt numb.
Mm.
And afterwards, the guy said, well, when I jumped out, instead of in sport parachute jumping, you're supposed to go like this. Okay. Go like this. And I went like this, which was part of the problem.
Okay.
I guarantee you I went like this because I was afraid.
Mm.
And I was numb to that fear.
Sure.
So anyways, that numbness can be really difficult. So here's the thing, okay? They tell you the best practice is ignore your fears, put them aside, drive on. That doesn't work. Clear them.
Yes.
Now, sometimes you have to put your fears aside. We were evacuated this summer because of fires.
Wait a minute. I have to go back to a question. And the question is would you go back and do a jump today?
Sure.
Oh, okay.
I clear it first. Probably
Okay.
a lot.
A lot.
Okay.
Okay.
So should we do key points?
Sure. Okay. Jason, what are the key points of this segment?
Fear is an energy that is removed with an energy process, with clearing. You can never talk yourself out of fear, use logic or other programming methods. They don't work.
Okay.
Numbness gives you the illusion that you've overcome your fears, but then they move to other areas of your life.
Okay.
And the ecosystem approach teaches you to remove the root energies of your fears, to be rid of them forever.
Okay. In the next segment, we're going to talk about the biggest supporter of your fears and how fears block your own unique evolution. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Okay, I'll clear you too. Yeah, no problem. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it really comes down to the last segment to figure out the times, and I'll still give you the checks on it. Yep, no problem. I can tell. We're pros here. Sure, and compliments back right to you. Thanks for being there for Dr. Pat. Sure. Mm-hmm. Correct. Personally, I don't know what's going on for the day. I just know she has the day off. So I know she was going in for something. So we wish her well now. Yeah, we talk a little bit, but as of her not coming in as of late, it's more personal stuff for there. I don't really hear. I just, Olivia and David and everyone else kind of, and Linda and me, we all kind of take care of the show. So it's good to have a staff like that, right? You're good. I never leave this place, so.
I wasn't going to say anything about it, Benny.
I have a cot in the back. Just kidding.
How much time do we have, Benny?
Let's see here. About a minute.
All right.
All right. About 20 seconds. Yeah, get that out now. There we go.
Home.com. That's Grace, GHOM.com.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. Today, we're sitting in for Dr. Pat. In this segment, we're going to talk about the biggest supporter of your fears and how fears block your own unique evolution. We use an ecosystem approach to you, which is much different than what you are commonly taught. We see human beings as ecosystems that need to be uncovered instead of programmed. Human potential becomes infinite with our ecosystem approach. Okay, Jason, what is the biggest supporter of anyone's fears, your fears, the audience's fears? And by the way, what do you mean by that?
Numbness and unconsciousness are huge supporters of your fears and could make you completely unaware of
Wait
them.
a minute. I don't want to think about that. Is that what you mean?
That's one thing.
Okay.
That's form of denial. That's not necessarily unconscious.
Okay.
A lot of people, we work with them and we uncover fears that they didn't really know that they had.
Yes, that's true. That's
fears,
true.
and usually they're social, they're in terms of relationship.
Exactly.
But,
exactly.
They might be afraid to have a diet because of something that just makes no sense whatsoever. But it was a fear that they had in childhood and that took hold.
Well, here, exactly. And here's another one. And this I've heard more than once. I'll say, I see that you're afraid of your mother. And people will say, well, I'm afraid of her. And do you go see her on the holidays? Not if I can help it. That kind of thing. And what I see, what comes out is that the fear is that their mother's going to treat them, and I'm just giving you an example, like she treated them when they were kids, either overbearing or manipulating,
controlling,
exactly, all of those things.
Judgmental.
Those are fears.
Yes. And what we do is we rationalize those things in our numbness and unconsciousness.
Yes,
and say,
we do.
It's because it's too far to go, or
right, right.
whatever. And now it's you've got a built-in COVID.
Everybody
excuse.
has the excuse.
But the truth is that if you could identify your fears specifically, go back to my jump stories. This is way before I did this work. But if I could have identified exactly what my fear was when I was doing the sport parachute jumping,
right,
instead of going like this, I would have gone like this.
Sure.
Because I would have cleared the fear of it, and I would have just kind of.
Well, and you brought up a point. Our fears have us do, let me say it that way, have us do things that aren't natural.
Yes.
They're not natural to us.
If you have some strange behavior, and it's just you and I right now, okay? There's some sort of thing that you do,
right?
And you don't know why you do it, but you just have to do it.
Right.
Chances are there's a fear lurking underneath there. And when we say numbness and unconsciousness, see, here's the thing in general. When you use the ecosystem approach, which is what we're teaching you right now,
right,
is to clear away your fears, treat yourself like a human being as opposed to a machine.
Yeah.
Then what happens is you start to become more and more conscious of who you are, what's interacting with you, your fears, worries, anxieties. And as they come to the surface, you don't have to talk them to death. You don't have to talk about them.
Yeah, exactly.
A typical man, let's talk about your feelings. No, I don't want to talk about my feelings. Don't make me talk about my feelings. Well, with the ecosystem approach, you don't have to talk about your feelings.
No, don't make me.
We just clear away the negative energy.
Right.
We clear away the negative energy. And what we find is a lot of people are able to talk about their feelings then, but the trigger of the fear or the worry or the resistance to talk about them is gone.
Well, here's something that, and this is something that we know. Jason and I know this. We have really looked at this not only for ourselves but also for all of our clients. You can't be happy when you're numb.
Yes.
You can't be happy when you're unconscious, and you can act like you're happy. But true, authentic happiness doesn't happen when you're stuck in negative energies.
So many of us, and we've been this way. It's not a blame, it's not a judgment, But so many of us go through life just unconscious.
Yes.
We're just going through the motions,
Yeah.
and we don't know why. We don't know why we do what we do. We just try and get to the end, and
Yes.
so everything, everything works out.
Yeah, exactly. So one more little note, Jason. Talk about understanding your triggers.
Well, there's one more thing. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Beliefs give huge power
yeah.
to your fears.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a belief that
That all dogs are bad and they're gonna bite you.
yes, they will. I mean,
you draw that to you.
You draw that
Oh,
fear.
absolutely.
That fear is not only do you draw it to you, but if you believe it, then it's true.
Yeah.
Then it's true.
Well, and we have a whole political thing going on right now that's training our country and the rest of the world that what that says is true, and it's nothing but fear.
Beliefs, yes, beliefs
Nothing but fear.
that are basically encouraging fears
Absolutely.
and worries and paranoia, that sort of thing.
It's crazy.
So, again, Army story, just warning you, just
wait.
This is 3.
Okay, here we go.
But I get
Okay.
because we're on the air. I get these these Army stories. So in the Army, I was in intelligence. I was associated with interrogation, and we learned that in threat countries, our enemies basically train their soldiers to believe that if they get captured, they're going to be killed. I don't think I ever told you this.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
We used the Russian Army was often
an example.
That's because it was high
Yes,
intelligence.
an
It
example.
needed at the
And
time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay,
Exactly,
you're not
yeah.
allowed to say
So-
it 'cause right.
I'm not going to kill you, Benny. Don't worry about it. There's
Well, it's too late now. No, it's too late now.
So what we used that, we manipulated people based on their beliefs that they were going to be killed. Said, well, if you tell me what I want to know,
Then I won't kill you.
No, we don't. We never say that.
Oh.
It's against the Geneva Convention. What we say is, you're going to be okay.
Oh.
Just tell
Wait,
me.
talk about manipulating and using
Yes.
fear.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, sure. Well,
So, anyways, beliefs can really encourage fears. The last thing is that we believe that thinking or talking about our fears make them worse, but they're energies. They don't make them worse by talking about them. They don't make them better by holding them inside.
Yeah.
They're energies. If we just have to clear them, we don't have to.
Right.
We just have to know what to clear, and we can clear them and we get rid of them.
Well-
A lot of psychologists are turning over in their grave right now, but we're saying it's not necessary to talk about it. But once you clear it, typically you can talk about it.
and see the logic or the dislogic of how you saw it before.
Exactly.
A child, let's go back to the child. There's the monster under the bed or the monster in the closet. The child believes that to be true, and that's of course energy. But when mommy or daddy come into the room, or both, they believe that mommy and daddy are going to fight for them.
Yeah.
And that's why they want you to stay in the room, because they believe the monster is going to come back.
The way
Because
to
that energy is not clear.
the way to deal with those kid monsters is to
Yes.
clear it.
Absolutely.
One last thing: understand your fear triggers.
Mm.
We are triggered by all sorts of things.
Oh.
And
Absolutely.
when you know what those are, and you can find those out by clearing your numbness, clearing your unconsciousness, then you start to understand what your triggers are. And then when you understand your triggers,
You know what? I just just thought about this. I'm gonna tell you all a secret about my. I have this thing, and not having the control that I believe or I've been taught that I need. And I am so grateful to the clearing, because it's not all gone, but when it starts to show up, another layer of it starts to show up. I'll say to Jason, I'm uncomfortable. This doesn't
It's
make
usually
me feel
more.
good.
It's usually more animated than that.
Don't be telling those kind of secrets.
I threatened to give her one of those steering
you know,
wheels
with the little horn. Yeah, exactly. Put me in the. But the bottom line is she'd been in a horrific car accident when she was 9 years old and ended up in a convertible underneath a big rig.
So it got passed.
It got passed on.
It was
unconscious. That's a fear. It was an unconscious fear. And by the way, she passed it on to all of her kids. So with that said, Jason, what are the key points of the segment?
Numbness and unconsciousness line to keep you from evolving and moving forward in
really
life.
Important to understand.
Beliefs gives huge powers to fears, and mostly those beliefs are an illusion. Let's just clear them.
Right.
The ecosystem approach teaches you to uncover and clear your fears, and it's very, very effective. We've been doing it for 20 years. We know it works.
All right. In the next segment, it's time for us to help you, right now, to feel better and to start really overcoming your fears. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Okay, all clear.
Thanks, Benny. Benny, I loved it that you jumped in.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, your connection's a little spotty, by the way.
Benny.
Yeah, your connection is spotty a little bit, by the way. It's like the digital thing, so I mean it's raining kind of hard here.
We got an error message.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It didn't lose you completely, but
I don't know what that is.
If you guys have any extra, like browsers open or anything, it might be a good idea. To close out anything you don't need in front of you.
If I haven't had the time, I'll reboot. But other than that, I don't. And I've got a big honking computer. I'm sure it's not the computer. It's probably, we're out in the boonies.
Yeah.
So.
Well, actually your video looks a little clearer now, so it might have.
Okay, might have improved.
Potentially, yeah.
Okay.
No promises, though.
You told them gremlins. Get out of here.
Trust me, Benny, that isn't exactly what we call them.
It's probably the Russians. They knew I was going to talk about this. And...
I have a childhood friend who went in the Air Force growing up, and he was part of the Russian code-breaking intelligence up with the Air Force.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he couldn't. I lost touch with him after I moved anyways, but after I found out about that, I'm like, so you probably couldn't talk to very many people. He goes, no, not really.
Yeah.
He also lived in Alaska, so it's right next to the border, right across the way. Hello, Russia.
No kidding. Oh.
Well, because, you can see Russia
we
from...
don't know.
Yeah,
what?
Because you can see Russia from the house, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see Russia from the house. Can't believe her. Jeez. Looks like about a minute now.
Okay.
Okay.
Doing good.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the pre-routine.
By the way, I'm never bored. That isn't what that is.
No.
Not at all.
I still feel it's the lack of oxygen to the brain at that moment. The yawn is the, the rehashing, the bringing back of the air. That's what I
That's
think.
right.
That's exactly right.
Yep. We'll go with that one, Benny. We'll go with that one.
Yeah, for today anyway. Yeah.
Okay, about 20 seconds. So stand by.
Okay.
Through an analogy of the process of crafting a traditional Japanese sword, or katana. For more information about Christine, visit sunglowtransformation.com.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. Today, we're sitting in for Dr. Pat. In this segment, It's time to help you right now to feel better and to start really overcoming your fears. We use an ecosystem approach to you, which is much different than what you are commonly taught. We see human beings as ecosystems that need to be uncovered instead of programmed. Human potential becomes infinite with our ecosystem approach. Okay, Jason, how are you going to help someone who is struggling right now with a specific fear or a fearful situation?
If you have a specific fear, like say of heights, doing a presentation, confronting someone, or anything else, you start clearing what you are specifically afraid of.
Like?
And we're going to help you with that right now.
Okay.
So, I just want to say to you, if you're listening and you have these fears that maybe you've never told anybody, these anxieties, maybe you're numb to most of your fears. Maybe you say, "Oh, I feel fine."
Sure.
That doesn't mean you're not afraid. It just means
Exactly. It just means that you're
numb.
Exactly.
We all have fears, and it's very, very normal. But I want to say to you, a lot of times, some of the worst fears are the ones that we keep to ourselves. We have them locked up. They're a full part of our existence, but we don't ever talk about them. And I'm not suggesting you have to, but it makes us feel very alone. So we want to help you right now.
Right.
And this is why we do this show every week. And we're going to help you do some energy work right now in this show. And if you feel a difference, if you feel a benefit, listen every week, because every week we do clearings at the end.
Exactly.
And make this make it better for you, to help you feel better in some way or another, whether it's fear or some other topic.
Well, and I know that we're going to talk about our newsletter and the clearings at the end of the newsletter. We're going to talk about that in the next segment. But we have a way for you to connect with us on a regular basis.
You go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org,
there you go,
and just sign up for our free section. There's lots of content, and you get the benefit of the clearings, and you just start to see how this works for yourself.
Okay, well, you know what, Jason? Let's talk about the person who's being bullied by their boss. I mean, let's talk about that. What would we clear for that?
So each person is unique.
Absolutely.
Maybe you're afraid of your boss. Maybe you're so angry with your boss that you're afraid if you started talking about how angry you are, you'd probably punch him out. Maybe you.
Oh, I've had a few of those.
Maybe you don't believe that they're, even if you told them that you were angry, that they would respond in a way that was constructive or positive for you.
Correct.
It doesn't mean. So the way you start is first is clear your anger and your fear about being bullied by your boss.
Exactly.
It's what we do is we kind of take like an onion approach to fear. So so what's when you go into work, what do you feel first? Anger, fear? Clear the fear.
Or resistance to walking into the office, or resistance to connecting online.
Maybe it's just fear of making eye contact. Maybe it's fear of that they're going to ask you, or they're going to shame you, or
put you on the spot.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Sure.
Fear of shame is one of the biggest fears that you can have.
Absolutely. Well, because it isn't just about a boss. I mean, your parents. I mean, oftentimes my mother shamed me continuously, and my father put me down a lot.
The way you do that is, and you see it all over in the world today, is I ask you to do A, but as soon as you say, here, I did A, they say, what about B? What about C? What about D?
Exactly.
They just pile it on.
Exactly.
And so you give them B, C, and D. They say, what about E, F, G, H?
They don't give up. In other words, they're relentless. But also understand,
if you clear the energy.
That's exactly where I was. Hey, that was my line. if you clear the energy, what happens is you change, believe it or not, the energetic situation. And I should say this, if you clear, and I'm going to say enough, or clear the right things, and it does take practice, what happens is that the boss has nothing to grab a hold of. The boss has no ground to stand on, so to speak.
So here's the possibilities.
Okay, go.
You can clear your fear of the boss and find out that, they weren't so bad anyways.
Exactly.
And there's no one size fits all here. Or you can say, he's a bigger SOB than I really thought. So
exactly.
Or you can say, well, some of that problem I have with my boss is me. You know,
Mhm.
there's all sorts of there's an infinite way of
Well, and there's
clearing
also
it.
there's all kinds of things. So if I was going to clear the boss situation, first thing I would clear is the blocks to communication.
Yes.
That would be the first thing that I would go in for, and then I would clear my anger. And here's a great big one, and the hate. Hate is an energy that is relentless, and it'll find any way it can. And by the way, oftentimes it piggybacks together with fear.
Fear is a source energy, and
It
I
truly
guarantee
is.
you it's connected to all sorts of other things, like a very intricate spider web.
Exactly. And but when you have the power of yourself, when you know, well, we haven't really exactly talked about it in the show, but when you know your story and you know what you're afraid of, we'll just talk about even the surface stuff. You can start with that, meaning the specifics of that, like we were talking about in the last segment.
So here's the other thing about fear.
Okay.
Is fears can really be a big part of our life for all of our life. It can be the central part of our life for many years.
Right.
When you start to clear fear of that source thing. So first of all, I suggest that you start with easy stuff like a presentation or things that aren't
Some people
aren't
that's
huge.
not easy, but yes.
Some people they
Yeah.
have to go to that fear of being abused, and maybe they're in an abusive relationship now,
Right.
that sort of thing. That's going to take a while, and I guarantee you, when you start to clear that kind of fear,
Yeah.
you get pushback.
Yeah, you do.
So we just want to tell you so you can be prepared, because it doesn't mean that it's bad. If you get pushback, it doesn't mean that you're clearing the wrong thing. Don't get hopeless. Hopeless says, "Oh, this
Just
won't
keep
work."
going.
Hopeless says, "Oh, why bother?
Yeah.
This isn't working."
And by the way, you can clear hopelessness.
yes, you can clear hopelessness
Yes.
and any desire to quit. But there's the bigger the fear, the bigger the pushback. And
Right.
we're just saying that so that you can be prepared for it, and then clear it. Clear the pushback. Clear the polarity response. Clear the anger that's coming at you.
Exactly. But by the way, I have never cleared in anything that the response was so big that I couldn't continue clearing.
Exactly.
And by the way, clearing the response takes 1/8 the time, I'm going to say it that way, or even less than when I was doing the initial stuff. So it, kind of interesting.
So
yeah. So
here's the other thing.
Okay.
So you're clearing something that's really difficult,
right.
and so you're maybe you're afraid of your boss, and you have to go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you've been clearing, but you're still afraid of your boss. Activate life force, because it may take you months to clear for your boss. It might take you years. It may take you till enough time that you quit and say, "I'm out of here."
Right.
But in the meantime, if you have to have that confrontation, if you have to go into a meeting with your boss and you're not ready, don't feel like you're ready emotionally, activate life force. So we're going to tell you about that in just a minute.
Right.
Let's do the key points.
All right. Here we go. So and of course this is my line, everyone. Jason, what are the key points?
Picture a fearful situation and just start clearing. Break it down into all the parts that you are afraid of, and then clear them specifically.
Okay.
Clear the need to give up, any impatience you have, hopelessness when clearing fear, because it always comes up. And the ecosystem approach always works, but you are numb to the amount of fear and negative energy that you carry.
Well, that you actually carry.
Yes.
It's quite interesting. And there's one more thing here that we haven't talked about, but I just want to bring up. Your intention, you don't have to be perfect. I need to say this. Your intention matters here, because if you intend to clear the fear, that's you standing in your power.
It's a very forgiving process.
It is very, very forgiving.
And you don't have to do it perfectly. You just do it.
Exactly.
So here's how you do it.
Okay. Here's how we clear.
You don't have to sit in any special position. You can sit, stand on your head, lay down.
I don't recommend closing your eyes when you're driving.
And you can do this while you're driving. You could do this. You can even do this while you're talking to someone. You can do it in your head. But when we say to eliminate, gather that up in your body and then blow it into a trash can. But now we have a picture of the processor.
The processor, which is right back here.
Patricia drew that. We created this processor on the non-physical dimension. It works. You put it in the top there. It processes it and comes out the front.
Exactly.
And it's neutral. And just keep going.
And you can also get that same picture or a picture of the processor on our website.
Yes.
Okay.
The ecosystemapproach.org.
.org. Yes. Okay. So, Jason.
And for activating life force?
Well, exactly. Then we're going to activate life force. And what we're going to do is we're going to call upon life force. It's the most powerful energy in the world. You're going to pull it in through the top of your head. You're going to let it go all the way down your body and your arms, clear to the tips of your toes. You're going to stop it right there. You're going to turn it around. Use the power of the life force to pick up any negative energies left over and throw them in the processor or the garbage can. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to start clearing fear energy in your life. Now is the time to think about what you're afraid of so we can clear it in the next segment. This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia, and you're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
Okay, all clear. Yeah, let me get into the break. 1 second. Be about 11 minutes. I'll still give you the countdown cues, though, too. If you want to leave early too, I can fill as long as. Okay. I didn't know if you had some other thing you had to run off to get to. That's all I'm saying. So okay. Yeah, no, I get it. Mm-hmm. That's our pleasure. We're about 20 seconds. All right, stand by. Shining a light on process to get your life back. For more information about Jennifer and her work, visit burnbrighttoday.com.
This is the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason, and I'm Patricia. We are taking over for Dr. Pat today. In this segment, we're going to start to clear what you're afraid of. Think of what that is right now. And you know what? Think of it and send me, meaning telepathically, send me what that fear is right now. You ready to get started, Jason?
So here we go. Yes. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see what I'm afraid of right now, what I want to clear for right now. Take a breath.
Take a breath. Pick up that energy and throw it in that processor or your trash can, whichever one you choose, right now. I'm going to shorten it up just a little bit and to eliminate the anger, hate, rage, and bitterness that I feel because of my fear. It doesn't serve me. Take a breath. Lift it up. Throw it into the processor.
So we're going to ask you to fill in what your fears are in this clearing statement. So here we go. And to eliminate my fear of, and then you fill in the blank.
Whatever that is.
Think about it. So I can start to feel better right now. Clear that fear.
Take a breath. Well, and I just got, but there's so many. Okay. And let's do this. And to eliminate the fear that there's so many, I can't even begin to start. But the truth is, clear all of the confusion around the fear. It doesn't serve me or my life. Take a breath, nice and easy. Lift it up right into that trash can or processor right there.
So along those lines.
Okay.
And to eliminate the barrier, so I can just choose one now to clear. Take a breath. Throw it in the processor.
Well, here I can't resist because I have like 10 people right now that are saying, and to eliminate my fear of being fat, getting fat, and the hopelessness that I can never figure out how to take care of it. By the way, oftentimes overweight, excess weight is fear stored in your body. Take a nice breath. Start that right now. Let's do one more of those breaths on that one. Take a breath. And put it into the processor. Okay, Jason, go ahead.
And to eliminate my fear of trusting that I can be okay clearing my specific fear, whether it's your weight, whether it's you're going on a diet and I'm going to screw it up, whether it's
a relationship,
relationship,
yes,
confrontation.
Exactly. Yes, take a breath. And to eliminate the hopelessness I feel that says, well, why bother? It won't work. I can't do this all the time. When the truth is, it's so easy. Take a breath.
You can. And to eliminate the barriers so that I can see that I have the power to overcome this fear if I continue to clear it.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
One piece at a time. And to eliminate the frenzy and anxiety I feel when I try to clear this fear. Then clear what? The anxiety and the frenzy. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the veils and illusions so I can see that my fear will always connect to other issues in my life.
Absolutely.
Besides just the fear.
Because we're not one-dimensional and we're not machines. Take a breath. And to eliminate the barrier so I can see I have the power to overcome this fear if I continue to clear. I love that one. Take a breath.
And to eliminate the false belief that it's better just to ignore my fears and then it won't bother me, right?
Yeah, no. Take a breath.
I did that when I was in college. I used to clean up the house by putting everything in the closet.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it looked clean.
Yeah. And to eliminate my difficulty believing that I'll ever be able to clear enough and overcome my fear, whatever they are. When the truth is, that's a false belief. Take a breath. I release and let go of it right now.
And to eliminate my compulsion to trust a quick fix, which is usually programming methods because they seem easier, even though they don't work.
Take a breath. And to eliminate my anxiety that I have trying to clear my fear so I can see its pushback. Clear your fear, then clear the pushback. Take a breath.
And to eliminate seeing myself as a victim to my fears so I can clear them.
Yes.
Being a victim to feeling powerless, which is a form of fear.
Yes.
Take a breath.
Nice. Let's activate some life force. You ready?
Let's do that.
Here we go. I direct all my resources in all dimensions to activate life force energy so I can use life force energy for all that I need, want, desire, and deserve. Just nice and easy. Pull it in right through the top of your head. Let it go all the way down to the tips of your toes. Stop it right there and remove any negative energies that's keeping you from having the clarity to understand that you can do this. Take a breath.
And when you're clearing, if you start to yawn, that's an indication.
Oh, that's a really of huge amounts of energy.
Moving
yes.
lots of energy. So,
yes.
And to activate life force, so I can trust that I have more power than my fears.
Mm-hmm. Take a breath. Let it in through the top of your head. And to activate life force, so I can have the determination to continue to clear my fears and overcome that pushback. Same thing, but we're using life force this time, right in through the top of your head, all the way down to the tips of your toes. And one last one, if that's okay, Jason. And to activate life force, so I can be happy and healthy, creative, have fun, and heal myself and heal people around me. Ooh, that's a big one. Love myself and know that if I give myself just a little bit of time every day clearing, I can be better in anything and everything that I do. Nice and easy. Through the top of your head, life force. That's power, everyone. Tips of your toes, stop it there. Now use that same power to remove any negative energies that are blocking you. Jason, what are we going to talk about next week?
Next week, December 14th, is our regular show on Monday, 1 p.m.
Pacific
time, 4 p.m. Eastern time.
Right.
We're going to talk about the solar eclipse. And it's the solar eclipse is on that day.
On that day.
And it's in Sagittarius. And so what does that mean for me if I'm in the audience? Well, that's a very powerful energy. It's a very powerful energy for change. And we're going to explain to you how to use that in a practical way.
To help you.
To help you in your own life.
I love that. I love that.
It's not just esoteric. People talk about astrology all the time and it's like airy
Oh,
fairy.
yeah. What does that mean for me?
Yeah,
well, yeah.
We're going to make it useful for you in that show by doing some energy work and energy processes.
Right.
So here's what I want to say to everybody in the audience right now.
Okay.
If we've touched you today, if there's some part of you that says, yeah, I got that fear, I got to get rid of it. Or you feel better after you did the clearings, you feel better and you say, oh my gosh, maybe I can.
Ooh, maybe this does work.
Maybe this does work.
Yeah.
We want to invite you, all we're asking you to do is listen to the show every week.
Mm-hmm.
Go to our website, sign up for our free section.
Okay.
Make sure that box is checked where they have our weekly newsletter gives you clearings.
Right.
So you can do clearings every week. You can start doing this right now.
Well, and let me just say, even if the clearings aren't about what you want to clear.
What your major issue is.
What your major issue is, no matter what the clearings you do, I guarantee you it will help you and every part of your life. And it's really amazing.
We never have one problem like a machine.
No,
we're not a machine where we have to fix a part and then everything's fine.
Right.
We're an ecosystem that isn't constantly trying to find balance.
Exactly.
And the things that we clear are toxic parts of the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So you have to move those toxic parts so you can feel better.
Yeah, right.
Going forward.
Exactly.
So here's what you do. You can go to our website, theecosystemapproach.org, sign up for our free section.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a suggestion, if this touched you today, you want to reach out to us, send us an email at hello@theecosystemapproach.org, or go to our Facebook page, theecosystemapproach.org. That's our Facebook address.
Okay.
And like us. I love to be liked.
He whines. Please go like him. Yeah.
We just want to have you join us every day, every week, and be part of this and have fun with us. And we try and make it fun. But this treating yourself like an ecosystem instead of a machine is amazing. It's a very powerful way to change your life.
Exactly. So we'll connect next week, Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific and 4 p.m. Eastern time. And this is Transformation Talk Radio. I want to take a moment and say thank you, Dr. Pat, for letting us sit in for you. And you're listening to the Ecosystem Approach Show with Jason and Patricia.
Remember, your ecosystem is the most important one in the world.
Great. All clear, you too. Thanks so much. You're welcome. Bye.